Dated. I'm sure it's not just me that's just bored at the sight of this island. The reality is this island is old and it's never changed. It's like a really old car. You turn the key, the engine chugs, and eventually it starts. Yeah, sure it works, but it's not ideal. We've been promised a new extravagant foraging update for a long time now. But why is it taking so long? And is the reason why it's taking so long of detriment to the rest of the game? Most Skyblock gamers will prefer to play Skyblock when you've launched Minecraft in 1.8.9. Is it old technology? Yeah, it is. Is it the equivalent of using Windows XP on your computer? Probably. But Hypixel Skyblock is designed. It's designed to be played on 1.8.9. And it works a treat. Now, there's many pros to playing on 1.8.9. First of all, it's easy to run and accessible to all players, meaning that you don't need a great PC to play Hypixel Skyblock. Second of all of the clients are already optimized for 1.8.9, and in actual fact, the only client that's really equipped to go further than 1.8.9 at the moment is probably Badlion. Next, we have the convenience of that the server is already set up and optimized for 1.8.9. Last of all, as especially seen with parts of the game like the Crystal Hollows, mining needed an update, so now we mine prismarine blocks and we also mine stained glass. So it's not like we need to update the version of Minecraft in order to have more textures, because that obviously isn't an issue. Now, the last time we actually got an update on the Foraging update, well, first of all, it's nowhere near being released, or at least it wasn't as of like 6 months ago. They mentioned that they're basically building a whole new island, and they're also toying with the idea of making that island into 1.19 or 1.20. Now, what that means is basically, if you wanted to go to the Foraging Island and you were playing regularly like you do, maybe doing something else in 1.8.9, you would have to close the game, switch versions of Minecraft to come back on to play. Alternatively, they changed the whole server onto a new version of Minecraft. It's been mentioned by the people who were developing the update that in the past they've wanted to, for instance, create an island or a new update revolving around water and swimming. And of course, in 1.8.9 you can't swim, you just kind of walk through the water, whereas in newer versions of Minecraft you actually swim. So I guess there is some limitations to staying on 1.8.9. Well, here's the thing, if they introduce the update and either they change just the Foraging Island over to a new version of Minecraft, or whether they decide to change the whole of Skyblock over to a new version of Minecraft, people are not going to be happy. Which begs the question, is the new Foraging update going to be bad for Hypixel Skyblock? We'll come to that in just a moment. But first, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel, we're aiming for 100k subscribers before the end of this year. So, if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. And finally, you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry make some coins, make sure to join. But back to reality. The main process when the admins release an update is, well, first of all to create an update, then you've got to develop it, then they usually release an alpha to see what people think of it. Do you remember that update they released on the alpha just a few months ago where they changed this house here into basically the hub and the life of Skyblock, whereby this was the house where you could Frankenstein any weapon on the game? Clearly that had a bit of development put into it, but that was never a great idea. And it kind of stopped right there. Or how about that update on the alpha where they basically made it where you could put any attribute you want on any piece of armor? That was kind of crazy too. I guess the admins realized how ridiculous those ideas actually were, even though they were quite fun, and they never made it past that stage. Now what I'm trying to say is, well, it'd be interesting to see what happens if they do actually bring out a Foraging update on a later version of Minecraft. There's no guarantee that's even going to happen, because they could quite easily bring out an update on 1.8.9 that people would be happy with. So nothing's set in stone, this might not even happen, I'm just going off what has actually been said by admins, which is still kind of crazy. Anyway, that's enough for me from now. I want to know what you guys think. I asked my Discord server the question. Thoughts on a Foraging update potentially being in a later version of Minecraft, and this is what I got back. In my opinion, it's going to be annoying to switch versions when you want to change updates. So essentially, if you want to forage, you might have to change versions of Minecraft. And I agree, that would be really annoying, and I think that would be a huge drawback and would detract a lot from the update, even though it might actually be really good. I really do think there's going to have to probably be some sort of workaround, and I don't know, I just don't see it happening. But this is essentially what's been alluded to. It would add a couple of new woods, but they could easily create their own. Precisely, like we've seen with gemstones, stained glass, like we've seen with mithril, grey wool, prismarine blocks, and so on. Don't really care as long as mod developers release the mods for those later versions, as they contain huge quality of life changes I can't live without. That's 100% true. We wouldn't want a situation where everybody had to play on vanilla 1.20, that would be very strange. It's going to take a long time for them to get a way to have 1.8.9 combat while changing to 1.19 plus, which would take longer than for them to actually make a few new woods and make all the changes. It'll also break a lot of mods possibly, which is of course true like we've mentioned. But I guess this is dependent on if this did happen, how they actually implement it, whereby if it's just the Foraging Island that changes over to 1.19 plus or newer versions of Minecraft, I always thought that potentially a Foraging update would include some elements of combat, which I don't think is too outlandish to think about. But for instance, if the rest of Skyblock was still in 1.8.9 and they hadn't got a way to have 1.8.9 combat in 1.19, or if it did change to 1.19 combat, then that would be so inconsistent. It just wouldn't make any sense to have it. I don't know, it's very confusing. Now, if they were to change the rest of Skyblock over to 1.19 combat, then everything would have to be reworked in terms of combat. Nothing will be balanced. Imagine trying to do a Blaze Slayer boss with the current weapons, with the current stats, but only being able to hit once every few seconds rather than a few times every second. I mean, it would just be insane. There will need to be some huge balancing changes and huge changes to the way a lot of the weapons work. And foraging aside, it's actually a really interesting topic to think about, and how would they go on actually changing combat to 1.19 on Skyblock? It would be a huge amount of work. Now, don't get me wrong, if for instance the whole of Skyblock did convert into 1.19 or 1.20, or if it was just the Foraging Island, it would actually be really cool. Now, and a lot of people are of this opinion as well. A lot of people aren't negative about this happening, they just think some things need to be figured out. It isn't a secret that if we had a later version of Minecraft, then realistically the game would probably be better. What I mean by that is there's so many more possibilities to do so many different things. Would it be more work? Probably yes. Do people just prefer 1.8.9 Minecraft? For the most part, yeah. Would it be overwhelmingly inconvenient to switch versions of Minecraft every time you want to forage? Absolutely yes. But to be completely honest, we're just going to have to wait and find out and see what happens. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.